All right, this is number 10 on page 151, and this is a little tricky to read this problem and to see what, understand what they're asking. This one gets like a star for challenge. So anyway, what we've got is, I don't know, some students are taking a true-false test, and there's 50 questions on it, and they get 3 points for each correct score, and each correct answer, and for each wrong answer, they deduct just 1 point, and if they don't answer a question, it doesn't have any effect. So the questions start off easy. What's the best possible score? Well, it would be 3 points, for each of the 50 problems, so it would be a top score of 150 points. What's the worst possible score? Well, if they answered everything incorrectly, then they'd get 50 times -1, or -50 points. So the raw score goes from -50 all the way to positive 150. And what they want to do is convert that to a 0 to 100. In other words, a -50 needs to equate to a 0, and 150 needs to equate to a perfect score of 100. But this is a 200-point spread between these two, so they want to condense this into a 100-point spread. So we can actually, and so if you understand that, you can see that this score, that there's going to have to be a half of this spread somehow. But the easiest thing to do is to let x be the raw score on this -50 to 150 scale. And then y, or f of x, after we've done something to x, is the scaled score, which is the, that's the 0 to 100 score. The raw score goes from -50 to 150. Okay, so what we need is a function, f of x equals some slope times x plus b of that. So I'm going to look at ordered pairs here, and I'm going to say my score of -50, I'll talk about what I put in. My score of -50, if this is x, the raw score, converts to a y value, a scaled score of 0. So a -50 is the same as a 0. And then my top score, a score of 150 raw, converts to a 100 scaled. So I can look at that as an x and a y and an x and a y. So then if I do this, the slope is 100 minus 0 over 150 minus -50. So I get 100 over 200, so 1/2. And then if I pick one of the ordered pairs, this one's easy, and use point slope form. So I'll say y minus 0 is 1/2 times x minus -50. And so y is equal to 1/2 x plus 25. So in function form, using f of x, is 1/2 x plus 25. Now, check it out. If you want to check it out, let's say that someone got a perfect score of 150. That should convert to 100 using this. So just as a check, if I say, well, what's f of 150? It's 1/2 of 150 plus 25. So that's 75 plus 25, or 100. So it appears to work for that. So then the last question is, what about if you got, let's turn this over, part D, what about if you got 38 right answers and 4 wrong answers, and so that's 42, so then the other 8 you omit. Okay, so that means, and they said, what if you got that and you would have a score out of 150 and then convert it to a score out of 100. So 38 right times 3 each would be 114 points. 4 wrong at -1 each is -4 points, and the omitted ones don't count for anything. So that means if you got a raw score on the -50 to 150 on that scale, if your raw score was 110, what would that be in our new scale that goes 0 to 100? So you just plug it into the function that we got right here. F of x equals 1/2 x plus 25. So I'll rewrite it here. So f of 110, okay, is going to take half of that raw score and add 25. So this is 55 plus 25, or 80. So on our new scale, you would have an 80 out of 100. And that's it. That's a good rich problem, but challenge is always good.